Yes, we are finally live.
Yes, I'm so excited. As you can tell, Rich is really excited too. Hi, everyone, and a huge welcome to Track and Ball podcast with myself, Ellen White.
And myself, Richard Whitehead.
We are both extremely excited to be launching this evening. This is your podcast, so please feel free to ask us any questions throughout the evening. This podcast is something that we've been discussing, planning, preparing for a while now, and we have some amazing guests lined up for you. And myself and Rich will be delving into their lives, discussing their sport, their achievements, and really getting to know the person behind the athlete.
We both created Track and Ball as we're both passionate about sport. You can tell that. Therefore, we came up with the podcast, a platform where we both can talk about the power of sport and really delve into what it's like to be a high-performing athlete. Having that insight is really important, but also getting to hear about those rare moments and also talking about diversity and inclusion, which is obviously at the forefront of our thinking at the moment.
Definitely. And before we get going, how are you, Rich? Have you had a good day?
Yeah, I'm good.
Training been good?
Just really looking forward to this. Like we've talked about for ages, and like the guests that we've lined up are like first rate A-list athletes that have got some great stories, and so just like really key to get it going. What about yourself, Elsa? Have you been training today? You've been with Man City?
Yeah, training today. I really enjoyed the session, but I think I've just been so excited about launching this podcast, really, and and obviously the guests kicking off, and let's kick things off with a little teaser clip for everyone. Our first guest, Rebecca Adlington, yes, and here she is talking all about social media.
There's so many lovely people in the world, lovely people on social media. And I am sure you guys experience the lovely side as well. And I don't want to stop that just for those that want to be jealous or nasty or hurtful or anything else. And I kind of don't want them to win. I'm kind of like, I'm so competitive that I'm like, I'm not going to let you win. I'm not going to do it.
And you retired at the age of 23. Was that a circumstance because of some of those things that you were experiencing at that time, or was that a different reason?
No, that was just, it's a young sport. It's like gymnastics. It's such a young sport. And I think for me, I'd achieved everything. Nothing was going to get better than a home Olympics. I was never going to get greater than that moment. So it was kind of like, do I carry on for 4 years and just kind of hurt myself a lot more? My body was starting to, your body just can't cope so much as it gets older. You need a lot more rest and recovery and everything else. And I just thought, I just wanted to do other things. I wanted to set up my own swim. There was other passions that I started to have. And I think, when that love has kind of, you would always love your sport, don't get me wrong. And we all love our sport. You'll always be a fan of your sport, whether you're competing or not. But I think for me, I was like, I want to go there and not to training. So that's a big sign for me. I was like, oh no, it's time to go.
Yeah, very insightful from Becky. Just some things that I've never thought about with female high performance sport, which obviously goes live actually on the weekend on Saturday. So that's our first pre-record, goes live on Saturday for those to look out for that. But today is really about like me and Ellen, and maybe getting to know Ellen if you don't know women's football, and if you don't know about that sport of athletics, maybe getting to know me. So a little bit of a challenge, Ellen. 30 seconds. Yeah. So I've got my old timer.
Not nervous at all.
Yeah, this is the one. 30 seconds to tell the viewers and listeners about yourself. And I know you're a bit shy, so feel free to.
Okay.
To go for it.
I'm going to go for it this time.
Go for it. Okay. Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay. I'm a Man City and England footballer. I'm 31 years old. I've been to 3 World Cups, 3 FA Cups, won one recently with Man City, pretty cool. 2 FAWSLs. I've got 92 England caps. I'm an Olympian, went to London 2012. I love coffee, country walks.
10 seconds left.
I'm quite bubbly, a bit of banter. I've also won 3 Continental Cups, 1 League Cup, and new podcast launching today.
Awesome. See, you're outgoing. You've got plenty going on, and I think you're quite good at football as well.
I'd say average to,
So how many caps have you had? 90?
92. I did have to quickly ask my husband, is that correct? And he said, yeah, that was right. So yeah, I got that
92.
one right.
So you could be getting your 100th next year sometime then.
I don't want to say that. No, that to get something like that would be amazing. Yeah. All right, Rich. So I've said about me. Let's hear about you. But you can't mention London 2012 gold medal. Do you know what, guys? The amount of times. Look, he's got it here.
What, that?
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
It's a great coaster, right?
Okay, Rich. You have 30 seconds to tell everyone all about yourself. Are you ready? Okay, go.
Okay, Richard Whitehead, 44. 2 kids, Zara and Andrew. I'm double Paralympic gold medalist, 4 times world champion, 4 times European champion, world record holder, marathon, half marathon, 200 metres. I run a little bit, jog a little bit. I ran Land's End to John O'Groats. I'm Winter Paralympian. I'm inspired by Terry Fox, a Canadian athlete. I've actually run 50,000 miles in total since 2004, and I'm quite a funny guy.
Stop.
So that must be about 30 seconds.
Oh, that was incredible. Have you practiced that?
Yeah, about 40 times. About 40 times, so I got within the 30 seconds. Any more than 30 seconds, I'm done.
To be fair, you've ran quite a bit. That's impressive, though. What you've achieved is incredible, to be fair.
And I think with Paralympic sport, it's obviously evolved since 2004. It's massively kind of come on, and for athletes from the generation since 2012, it's flourished, and hopefully we can leave that lasting legacy into obviously the next Paralympic cycle, Tokyo, Paris, and LA.
Yeah, amazing.
So we're looking now at our topics, aren't we? We're actually we're going to think about getting into those key topics that we want to talk about, and obviously we know lockdown is something that's it's tough at the moment. Yeah. Obviously, athletes, general members of the public, a lot of anxiety. Yeah. What do you think about the situation at the moment regarding sport and where we're actually going?
Yeah, obviously we're in a global pandemic. It's challenging for everyone, really, and it's challenging. But hopefully, everyone will come out the other side, and we can hopefully enjoy sport for everyone very soon. But yeah, it is really challenging. But for you, Rich, like what have you kind of been doing in lockdown? What did lockdown look for you?
Busy.
Look like for you?
I mean, it's really busy. Like I think. Lots of people see lockdown as that real depressing time. Like I say, people losing their jobs. Lots of people having to be self-isolating for not just days or weeks, but months. Yeah. But I saw it as a little bit of a reset for myself as an athlete and as a person, but also just trying new things as a athlete, and also make sure that I wanted to continue as an athlete towards Tokyo, because I was going to retire this year after the games. So we sat down with my coach Keith, and we just came up with like some plans. So Zoom circuits. So I don't know about you, but I'm sick of Zoom. Actually sick of Zoom. Like, so we do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday every blooming week.
Yeah,
my core's hurting.
That's next level. Yeah. So, how many people are on the circuits when you're doing them? Is there quite a lot of you?
Well, it's either me and Keith, or there's like about 8 of us. And we've got a couple of athletes from Holland that come on as well. So it's like transatlantic, and it's 20 minutes hardcore. That literally really kicks my ass. I've already trained, and I've got to do circuits. I'm like, so I'm sick of doing that. Yeah. But I also, it gives you, lockdown gives you a bit of time, and time is important. So lots of walking with my kids. Yeah. Getting out, walking by the River Trent in Nottingham. I'm a Nottingham lad, and as you can tell with the accent. And yeah, the kids love it. I love getting out apart from when I'm walking for about 2 hours, it's they're knackered by the time they get back and they want to go to sleep. So podcasts, obviously, we've worked tirelessly on this to try and get this up and running. And then the famous brown shoot that I did.
Yeah, like tell us more. Like, how did that come about? Like, so, you're essentially a model now, really, aren't you?
Yeah, obviously with these looks, so some people have got a good side. No, I definitely haven't got a good side. So it was 50 years of the fashion brand Browns, and they're looking at equality and diversity, which is something that I've been investing a lot of time in trying to have an impact in diversity in sport. But it transcends through like entertainment, fashion, music. So I wanted to have a little bit of a try at see if I was any good in that arena. Yeah, it's different. It's a different league. I've done it once. Whether I do it again, hopefully. It depends. I might lose my good looks in the next couple of weeks. So
it looked really cool though. No, the pictures look really cool, and like
and the clothes are from campaign. Gucci as well. a massive Gucci fan.
Yeah.
So just doing all bits like that, and like just getting back into training. Obviously, training at the moment, it's tough because we're under COVID restrictions. British Athletics have put some procedures in place that really keeps the athletes and the coaches safe. And that's really important because hands, face, space, right? It's important. We all need to abide by the rules, especially when we're in lockdown. Don't be inviting like 19 people around for Christmas dinner.
No, it's all about trying to keep everyone safe, and you know, it is a global pandemic. So yeah, definitely wash your hands, face mask.
And keep at least this far away from me. But obviously for myself being an individual athlete, it's easy because my bubble's quite small. But what about for yourself as a team athlete and having not just yourself and your coach, but you've got lots of other players and stuff around?
Well, I'd say initially when we first went in lockdown, right at the kind of middle of March, I was like, sweet, like that was a couple of weeks without seeing anybody. But yeah, you start to really miss everyone. You start to really miss that team environment, seeing everybody. But Man City have got an incredible kind of COVID protocol. So, you know, before we went in, we're allowed to go back to training. You know, there were so many protocols in place and we felt really safe. So that was a really good place to be in, really. And the most important thing is everyone feeling safe. It's like the priority. But yeah,
and the buy-in as well, right? People need to buy into that as a team, and it just shows, it brings you together. I think it's definitely brought my team together.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're all going through a similar thing at the same time. And, you know, we understand what we all did kind of in lockdown as well. We were doing like 3 sessions a day, like going out on the pitch, gym, and also kind of going on the bike as well. And for me, I like structure. I really like routine. So for me during lockdown, it was finding that new normal, finding a routine and a structure within kind of the lockdown, which was really important. And finding a pitch, actually. I live in the countryside, so running uphill is not fun. Obviously, it's quite good for fitness, but it wasn't really fun for football drills.
You moved house as well, haven't you? Have you moved house?
Yeah, we moved just the end of kind of January. So we only had kind of a month or so in our house before we were in lockdown, which, you know, it's a blessing in disguise, the fact that we were able to move in when we did. And we were able to, once we could go outside and explore a little bit more, it was really nice to go out in the countryside and walking. Like you said, it's really nice to be outside, fresh air, something different, and exploring. So that was really fun. And also, you know, I was involved in the 100K in May for the Derby Rimmer Foundation as well, raising funds for their foundation and for motor neurons disease. So that was an amazing thing to be involved in, really, for me and my husband, to raise awareness of MND and to get involved in that campaign and raise as much money as possible. So
charities are really struggling at the moment, aren't they? One of the real things that have been hit hard have been the charities, and I know those charities that have really lost a lot of funds through some of the corporate events they do, and obviously things like London Marathon. So what you did with that 100K was, I'm sure, not just for the money, but also the awareness, really helped to raise that awareness for that cause.
Yeah, we felt really proud to be a part of it, really, and to help raise money for something that does need a lot of awareness as well. So hopefully, some families and some awareness was brought from that, really. And also, I enjoyed Lego building. That was a bit of a different one.
So Lego?
Bit random, I know.
I did some
really
jigsaws and I hated that. It lasted about 4 days. I was like, I don't like cats. And I got a cat jigsaw.
Yeah, well, how are we friends? I don't know. I've got 2 cats and you're saying you don't like cats. I'm shocked.
No,
I'm
cat
shocked.
jigsaw. And what about the FA Cup final as well? You played in lockdown as well, didn't you?
Yes, we were playing Everton at Wembley in the FA Cup final. Incredible occasion to be involved in an FA Cup final. Obviously, it was a little bit sad that we couldn't get fans and spectators and our family and friends there. But, you know, we understand what's happening in the world at the moment. But, you know, they were able to watch on TV and support, and we won. Yes.
I bet that was was that a third winners medal?
Third one.
You won did you win 2 with like some like really terrible like London team? Who did you win? Was that Arsenal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Arsenal. As a Spurs fan.
I was going to literally. When are you going to mention Spurs? Go on, mention them now. Go on.
But what was the party like after?
Do you know what? It was really nice. We got to stay overnight after the game, and it was just great to be able to be with everyone and celebrate with, you know, part of the team. You never really get to celebrate like winning a trophy, really. You kind of miss out on those moments sometimes. So to be able to be with everyone and have that night together was really nice, actually. Again, really proud to be part of the team and win an FA Cup as well. And then also my last thing, lockdown, you've spoke about it, family Zoom catch-ups and quizzes. I can't do anymore. I can't do it. I can't.
Are you any good at quizzing? Are you?
Awful. I just, Callum, my husband, normally is, I'm like, do you know that question? I don't know the answer.
I was on the chase. I won 50 grand on my, I won 50 grand on.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So I won. We didn't win in the final chase, but when I was up to the board, I won 50 grand. So I'm all right as long as it's certain topics.
That's incredible. Okay.
So what we thought now would be, we'd probably tease another guest that we've got. Now this guest is somebody that I never thought we'd get on a podcast. He never really does these kind of podcasts at all, and very colourful character. That 6-time world champion, somebody that was talking about being a bit of a bad boy. So this is Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Since I stopped drinking and sort of smoking a bit of cannabis, which I used to do up until about 2000, I think I've kind of just stayed under the radar and, you know, just focused on my sport and on my snooker. And they haven't really had much to write about because I've stayed out at the nightclubs and I've stayed out at the car crashes.
Stayed out of all that Stringfellows and all that jazz, right?
Yeah, like when you don't drink and you don't do all that sort of stuff, you become quite boring. But actually, since I've become boring, Ronnie, I've become happier. It's quite weird.
Yeah.
I found
at that stage of your life, would you say you were just kind of getting kind of caught up in with the kind of the whirlwind of who people perceived you were, and not actually trying to be yourself at that point?
I think it was hard for me because my dad got put away for murder when I was like just 16, basically, for 20 years, and he was like a massive rock to me. You know, he was like a bit like Serena Williams' his dad was to her. You know, they were sort of massive influence on their life, and my dad was like that for me. So for him to go away when I was 16, I kind of just I couldn't deal with it. It was like a massive. In some ways, a death would have been easier because you could go, okay, he's gone. I can but knowing he was still there and I was visiting him for 20 years, like I say, the first 5 or 6 years, I just lost the plot really, you know. And then my mum got put in prison when I was like 17, 18, something around then, and I just kind of I just lost it, you know. I got caught up in the wrong crowd, if you like. Not the wrong crowd. I shouldn't blame anyone. I was a bit of the instigator of it as well, you know. I kind of like made that decision, you know. I want to block something out of my life.
Wow, that was awesome! What a guy! How did you find that podcast, Ellen?
To be honest,
because you didn't know a lot about snooker before, did you?
No, I didn't know a lot about snooker. Obviously, we've done our research on Ronnie as well, and I obviously knew a lot about him in terms of what he's achieved. Really, it's incredible in snooker. But yeah, incredible podcast. Like I felt really kind of privileged that he wanted to come on our podcast, and he was so open and honest. Even that clip, you can tell how open and honest he is. But
we didn't realise, did we? That was literally the first 30 seconds of the interview. He was talking about obviously antisocial drugs and his father being in prison. And I think within lockdown it's given people like us the opportunity to connect, hasn't it, with athletes such as Ronnie, and also the inspiring things that people have been able to do within lockdown. You look at Captain Tom and with his walking at the age of 100, and Joe Wick, obviously. Joe Wick's inspiring young people and adults to train together in the morning. And for us, I think Marcus Rashford, now MBE, that's been something that's really resonated with what the good work that you actually can do with a great platform. Marcus, obviously, he's looked at his situation that he's got that empathy regarding children that are in poverty, that haven't got that food, haven't got the resources, and he's changed policy to enable in the holidays to have free school meals. Now, I think there still needs to be a little bit of a juggling around how that's distributed, and how really making sure the young children have the food that they deserve and have that hot meal. But I think in the 21st century, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I've done humanitarian work all over the world, and to have a situation here where in the holidays you've got children that haven't got food for lunch and tea is ridiculous.
Definitely. I think it's so sad that, we have children living in food poverty. They're not able, like you say, to have meal or food. Every child should have the opportunity to have a meal and to not be worried about when they're next going to have a meal. And I think Marcus Rashford has been an amazing inspiration. Like you say, using his platform, using his voice. He's come out and said, children aren't able to use their voices. He's using his voice and his platform to really project this into the limelight. And he's doing some amazing things. There's obviously still more to do, but, what he's doing is incredible.
And within lockdown, I think sport has changed, and through characters like him. And I think it's really important to not pigeonhole footballers or athletes or swimmers into those kind of holes where it's all about the money or all about the medals or all about themselves. Athletes have to come up that tree, and at some stage you're gonna come down the other side. So that legacy is really important. But I think the sport has definitely changed in lockdown. I watch a lot of sport like yourself, and I think within football, you look at some of the games that's happened in lockdown. Like obviously the mighty Spurs pulling the pants down on Man United.
I was going to say, when are you going to mention that? Yeah.
The champions last year losing
Villa
7-2 to Villa, who nearly got relegated on the last day of the season. Do you think lockdown has changed, and what do you think's the reason for that?
Yeah, I think obviously the lack of crowds, pressure. A lot of injuries, fatigue. They didn't have a lot of kind of time off. I think they had like a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So I think all those factors come into it. I know, Premier League are probably one or the only major league that doesn't have 5 subs. I know that all teams in the Premier League kind of voted, and it came out with 3 subs. So it's an interesting one.
They need to use them though, don't they? If they've got the subs, they need to. If they're talking about
utilize them,
and looking after the players, they need to be using those subs. I watched the Man City Liverpool game, and Pep Guardiola only used one of his subs, and I'm thinking, if you're crying out for those five subs, then you need to be using them in those key games.
Especially with the amount of games that they do play within a season. It's a lot, and that takes its toll on players. Like I said, there's been big injuries, and a lot of fatigue.
Lots of soft tissue, right?
What injuries?
Soft tissue lots of soft tissue injuries. Yeah,
big injuries as well, like Van Dijk, for instance, massive injury as well.
Yeah, that was a bit of a karate kick there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Do you think there's other reasons as well, like the fatigue, the number of games in a short space of time, and not having that turnaround? And then do you think it's it's then also in both formats of the game, the women's and the men's, and it's very similar?
I'm not sure if it's had the same effect on the women's game. Obviously, it is strange. I've experienced kind of playing in an empty stadium, playing, Wembley that's empty. It is very strange.
Believe me, I've run a lot of races with zero crowd.
Yeah,
in Paralympics, in Athens in 2004, there was none, and then we only got crowd. Yeah, we only got crowds probably after it was Sydney first, and then Beijing, and then into obviously the greatest games ever, London 2012.
Obviously. Let's talk a little bit about like grassroots sports. Do you think stopping football and athletics and also other sports of grassroots will have like a massive impact on the next generation's mental health, well-being, even?
Yeah, when as a father, for one, and also as a sportsman, you kind of look at what is important in sport, the participation side, the social aspect of sport. Yeah. And I don't understand the difference between the children in school. Like my kids are just getting ready to go like swimming lessons and the taking part in sport in school, and then they're disbanding like grassroots sport from quite a high level all the way down to obviously that developmental stage, without any kind of real thought of how it's going to have an impact for the future. And for me, I think when you stop things like that, it takes the restart of it is going to be really important. The government's going to have to offer initiatives, free sports provision, free sports equipment for schools, support education, coaching. They really need to invest in this, because this could be a massive issue 5 or 10 years down the line. And when we look at the first lockdown, the children were coming back to school, and even some of the adults that weren't actually taking part in their recreational sport, they were struggling well-being wise, because mentally and physically they were finding they didn't have that space to be able to express themselves and to be creative. Yeah.
Definitely. I think you miss out on that social aspect, don't you? Meeting people, like you say, that mindfulness of going and playing sport.
There's a lot of people. It's not just about participation. It's about administration, obviously spectating. We've obviously not got any spectators within our sport at the moment, even though countries like Australia and New Zealand have. So that's going to have a massive impact. And I'm glad we don't have to pay pay-per-view now for those games, because paying $14.95 for a game that's 0-0 isn't cool.
No, that's not cool at all. No. Well, yeah. Hopefully, very soon we can get back kind of grassroots and sports getting back, and that mindfulness is really important for everyone. Mental health and well-being. Yeah,
definitely.
So, guys, we want to show you another clip, a little teaser of our third guest, Greg Rutherford, an amazing guy. Really loved interviewing him.
Yeah, Olympic champion.
And here he is talking about London 2012 preparation.
I remember after winning in London, people would say to me, I think it was Steve Redgrave was one of the people who sort of said, look, you won't truly understand what you've done until you're long retired. And even still to this day, it doesn't quite feel real. Because for me, going into that championships, and again, I think something that made me quite mentally resilient and meant that I was able to perform well was I looked at nearly every competition as an opportunity, first and foremost, but I tried not to see it for what other people externally would see it for. So for everybody going into the London Olympics, we're going, this is the London Olympics, the one opportunity in your lifetime and career to have a London Olympics. You're in your prime, you're in good shape, whatever else, you could go and do well. I saw it as, look, I've run in a straight line and jumped into a sandpit 10,000 times by that point, or wherever it would have been. Nothing changes. It's a runway, it's a sandpit, and it's my legs with a pair of spikes on the end of them.
Awesome.
I love the way he talks about that.
I know.
It's just a track. I'm wearing some spikes, sandpit at the end. Yeah.
He's got a sandpit in his garden.
I know.
Well, he did have. It's like, I had a sandpit, but it definitely wasn't big enough to jump into. So we've got some. I think we've got some questions coming in now. from some of the guys that are enjoying listening, watching the podcast. Hi, Simon. Yep. Simon Berry. I used to play hockey with Simon in 2006 when I went to Turin.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
some great feedback. We would say this is about what we can bring to the table guest wise. So topics, we want it to be about what's going on now. Talking about anything. This is about an honest, transparent podcast. Really getting into the nuts and bolts about the athletes, not just performance, but the journey there, and some of the challenges and obstacles they have to overcome in that journey.
Thanks, Stephen and Amanda. We really appreciate you guys all watching and listening, and excited for our podcast. Go on, Rich. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given? This from Dale.
Yeah, probably. When you're 44, you're not finished.
That's a good one.
The best piece of advice is preparation. It's just key to success. You have to put the hard yards in. As you get older as well, you have to put more time in on the field of play, whether that's a track or whether that's a football pitch or in the gym. And I'm sure you can reiterate that Ellen. It's about preparation.
Definitely practice. Listen to your coaches. Work hard. I think Rich pretty much said it all. But yeah, definitely work hard and enjoy it as well.
Yeah, technically as well. Just kind of without the technical ability, you're always going to have a performance that's going to be not so great. So you need to really work on those technical aspects of your sport. And running, you think, oh, left foot, right foot. Well, I ain't got any feet to start with, so it's a bit different for me. But it's more about kind of all those little phases. Like I've got phases of my 200 meters, and I go through like it goes in my head like mentally. Like one of the things that I do before I do a marathon, I go through like the visualization process, and I do exactly the same on the 200 meters. Do you do any visualization at all?
I do a lot of like analysis, watching opponents, watching goalies. Maybe not as much visualization as maybe I should, but I feel like I do sit there and think like, gonna go here, should I go here? Like playing it in my mind a little bit. But I do quite a lot of analysis, kind of, just trying to improve and get better and finishing and being in the right place, movement, that type of thing as well.
Have you seen the question from Natasha there about the Manchester Derby?
I have seen that one. Thanks, Natasha. I'm very excited and I appreciate you saying "Come on, City." Thank you. Yes. It's a big one. Big Manchester Derby on Saturday. So I'm really excited for that one, and hopefully a lot of people can kind of watch and support. It's Women's Football Weekend as well, so all the games are staggered
behind it.
Hopefully everyone can watch.
Hi, Stephen. Yep. Cheers for your support, fellow competitive
wow.
himself. That's awesome. And don't get too fast. Don't get too fast. I'm getting slower. You're getting faster. When there's trouble.
Alex has put, poor Ellen has to put up with you, Rich. You deserve a medal already, Ellen. I do.
Yeah. And by the way, I know that Alex, and it's definitely not the Alex Ferguson that was the Man United manager. It's Alex Ferguson that used to work for British Athletics. Hi, mate. Thanks for your support.
Sharon, this is a brand new podcast, Track and Ball. If anyone's kind of joining us, kind of right now, this is our brand new launch of our podcast. So we're really excited for it.
And the direction that we're going to take the podcast is really audience led. So the comments that you want to leave about what you found interesting, what you really want to know, we've got the ability to get those athletes, those role models, those mentors on the show, and really look at exploring those. Hi, Paul. Now, Paul is a Spurs fan. That's two.
Is there any West Ham fans here today?
No, definitely no West Ham fans. Have you got any fans? Actually, wait a minute.
Oh.
You've got the best stadium in the world, right? What happened in that stadium before it was a football stadium?
I'm just trying to think what did happen in that stadium.
I've got actually, as you walk into the stadium doors, there's a massive like display, and it's massive. It's about 50 meters. This display, and it's got all the medals that were won in 2012 in the Olympics and Paralympics.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, Jess Ennis's, Greg's, Dave's, mine, Johnny Peacock's.
That's amazing.
It's an impressive thing. So when you play there next, just go have a look.
Oh, I'd love to play there. I would. West who? Thanks. Thanks. I really appreciate that.
Obviously Tokyo.
There must be some kind of West Ham fans out there.
No West Ham fans today.
My dad's listening, so please.
He's struggling with the keyboard. Yeah. I've made sure his keyboard doesn't work today, just so can't give you any support as a Hammers fan. Have you been busy like preparing for like Tokyo? Have you kind of put in some preparations for next year? I know that like Tokyo 2020 didn't really happen. For me, it's been tough.
Go on. Talk about kind of how you found it. I
had concussion for 2 weeks, so went into lockdown, and kind of first lockdown, started training. Without the practitioners around you, sometimes you maybe either cut corners, or I wasn't able to access the prosthetists that actually take care of my legs, and I'd also kind of had maybe a couple of months away from training. So I was running on the track in Loughborough, snapped one of my blades, went down, whacked my head. 2 weeks, literally like no sport at all. So the same.
Go on.
No, the same kind of procedure that obviously like rugby guys have. Luckily, we've got a specialist at British Athletics that's worked on head trauma, and she gave me a lot of support in that process, because without that, I'd have been straight back on the track. Like literally, I'd have been like, whoa, I'm a bit like, my head's a bit fuzzy, I'm like a little bit drunk, but I just get back in there, and that's obviously
you were sending weren't quite right. I was thinking,
yeah, that's it. Can't spell right. I didn't know my left and right. So it's just really important when you are in competitive sport, or even in sport at all. And I'm sure there's some listeners and viewers that take part in those contact sports, that when you do have suspected concussion, that you get that checked out, because it can be super serious. You can have a bleed on the brain, and for me it was really important that I had a close team around me that were keeping an eye on me, but also looking at that. So not a good start, really. I
was going to say, because we've spoken about this before today, guys, that how fast you're kind of running at for then your blade to obviously snap, and then to
23
hit
miles an hour,
which is crazy. And then obviously what's it like then for you kind of getting back up, running again, like confidence wise?
Anxiety and confidence in the technology. I obviously use technology to run. It's not just my own propulsion, it's not my own body. So it's important that I have confidence in that. And when something like that happens, a malfunction in technology, it's like a racing driver that's obviously driving, and then his steering goes. But the best thing is to get back on the horse and kind of go again. And at that stage, I was in great shape. Like I was like fit. As one of my old hockey mates said, I was as fit as a butcher's dog. I was literally like, I'd done a DEXA scan in November. I was like 7% body fat. I was lifting like the Incredible Hulk in the gym and running really well on the track. But sometimes you have these curveballs in sport, and I'm sure you've had them, where you get an injury or you get lose form, and you have to have like a plan of action to move forward. Did you have been through those?
Yeah, no, definitely with injuries, even with dip in form, not scoring or just not performing as well as that you feel like you can be. And it's yeah, it's about having, even like for me, I'm having like conversations with coaching staff or even like family members, and just trying to like put your head down and work hard in training and just try and kind of get out of that lull, really. And with injuries, it is challenging because
what kind of injuries have you had in the past?
I've had 2 ACLs, which is basically like knee surgery. So I was out for about 8 and 10 months. Also broke my collarbone, which is probably a weird one in football, actually. The goalie literally took me out at like hip height, and I literally couldn't use my arms.
Not for a drink, just took you out, right?
Yeah, just took me out. And I couldn't use my arms to land, so I landed straight on my collarbone and just snapped that in half, which was just horrendous. So yeah, it's been a bit challenging, but you know, it is hard when, you know, the sport you love's like taken away from you a little bit. But, you know, for me, it gave me the fire in the belly to be so diligent in my rehab and preparation and just work as hard as I could.
Recovery is key, right? Recovery is really key.
Just doing the little things, I think.
Yeah. And if you're a recreational athlete or an elite athlete, it's very similar. Like things like foam rolling, ice baths, like compression, stretching. Yeah, all those things are really important to invest time in, and you'll get gains from it in the future. And my coaches, S&C coaches, always banging on, going, "Come on, Richard, you need to do 15 minutes of this," and I'm going, "Oh, I hate this," but it's really important. Oh, Carol Halpin, there's a name from the past. We'd like to see some stuff improving.
Do you know her?
Yeah, I know Carol. Yeah, she's so swimming teacher. I used to swim back in the day. And I think that's a great point around mental health through sport and physical activity in lockdown. It's a great comment, and we'll look into that.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Hi to your daughter, Jessica. I'm glad you're loving the podcast as well. We've got Rebecca Adlington being released at the weekend, which is incredible. So we're really excited for that one.
Yeah, definitely watch that one. And also around the mental health aspects of sport as well. She talks about that a lot, about how negative comments on social media can have a detrimental impact. And some really interesting comments for those women viewers and listeners around the impact of the menstrual cycle on her performance, which very informative, and she opened up on that as well.
Yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, she really did open up on so many topics. So I'm really excited for everyone to kind of listen to that. I listened to it last night, so I'm like so excited for everyone to be able to listen to it at the weekend as well. And before we jump in with this one, my dad just came up. I saw John White, come on you irons. Look, thank you, Dad. I appreciate that. At least there is one West Ham fan watching.
Fatherly support.
Thanks, Dad. Lottie, Ellen, when is your next Lioness game? Hopefully, I think it's kind of end of November, early December. So yeah, hopefully.
You potentially got, was it Europeans and Olympics, and what was the other competition? World Cup.
Yeah, so we've got Euros in 2022, which was pushed back a year because obviously Tokyo, and then the World Cup is 2023. So some massive competitions coming up. Yeah,
it's a massive year for you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, a massive year for hopefully for both. Yeah, definitely.
And do you think it'll be on the Olympics, Paralympics? Do you think it'll be on? What's your thoughts? Come on.
Yeah, like obviously would love it to be on. You know, obviously we know we're going through a global pandemic at the moment. We hope that it'll be happening in its entirety, but you just don't know at the moment. It would be incredible if it was able to happen. But
we need some positivity. That's what we need. We need to be positive. Definitely. It's going to happen, and it's going to be the second best Olympics and Paralympics ever. Just
to have something like completely different sports, inspiring people.
Sport's important, right?
Oh, definitely.
It's important for the nation. Like, do you think about sporting occasions, the kind of the England games, the Olympics, the Paralympics, when the country like stops still and just watches the characters, the inspirational sports people that have overcome so much just to get to the games. It's not all about winning, remember, but then when we win as a country, we actually win as a country, and when we all do this and that, it's not just for ourselves, right?
Definitely not. Well, we just want to let everyone know again, if you're joining us or if you've been listening the whole time, that we're releasing the Rebecca Adlington podcast this weekend. And then every Thursday after that, we'll be releasing a podcast. So we've got Ronnie O'Sullivan and Greg Rutherford coming up. So we're so excited and can't wait for everyone to listen to it. And we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening to this launch. Please follow and listen to Track and Ball. As we said earlier, as I've just said, some amazing guests. And if you search Track and Ball podcast, you can find us on socials, Apple Podcasts, and also anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Also, don't forget, obviously, to subscribe so you get the lowdown on obviously who we've got coming up. And like Elle said, the next podcast is obviously Rebecca this weekend, and then Greg and Ronnie, which we're really pleased with, and like I say, we really like them. So hopefully you do, and some feedback from them would be great.
And we just can't wait for, to have you joining us on this journey, really. And like we said before, like, please feel free to get in contact with us. We love having your questions, and also, any guests that you'd like us to have on the show as well. So yeah, follow us on all the socials, our YouTube channel, subscribe, and also on Apple Podcasts as well, and wherever you find your podcasts.
I'm Richard Whitehead.
And I'm Ellen White.
And you've been listening to Track and Ball podcast.
Cross comes in, White with the header. 1-0 England!
And here comes Whitehead. It's gold for Great Britain.